It's Thursday, March 16th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we discuss a topic that normally and traditionally falls outside of the realm of geekery, our favorite sports. Let's do this!
So I got an email late yesterday night, I think, and it said, we're going to start having weekly staff meetings. Now, that's bad news for me because I currently have 0 meetings at all.
Wow, I have at least 5 meetings a week.
And I'm in this middle-of-nowhere office all alone, which means the only way I'm getting to the meeting is by calling in on telephone.
Oh, that's fantastic. Just call in and put the phone down.
The meeting's at 8:30 a.m. I have to be at the office at 8:30 a.m. when I'm usually there at 9.
Call it from your cell phone in the car.
In the car in New York where I'll get a ticket and I can't pay attention to driving.
What, you're not actually going to listen to this? I mean, you don't really want to go to the meeting, do you?
No, but if I don't have a hands-free, I kind of if I don't go to the first one, they'll be like, hey, where's Scott? Grr.
Well, get hands-free.
I got to before tomorrow at 8:30 a.m.
You could. The mall's still open. No, the mall's closed now.
Yeah, okay.
The mall was open an hour ago. You could have gone and gotten one.
It's Geeknights, genius. Not geek afternoon while the mall is still open.
You know, we could have done it earlier if you'd actually helped me do the show instead of playing video games.
Video games I have to play for the show.
Yeah.
All right.
I love how almost everything we do in our lives now is research for our show as opposed to just screwing around.
Well, I used to just sit there and couldn't figure out what geekery to indulge in, and now I force myself to indulge in some sort of geekery. So I'm accomplishing a nothing something.
I'm not sure what I think of that.
I don't know either.
So I actually have standing meetings like many days of the week. In fact, today I skipped them both. But I theoretically had 2 required meetings to attend.
Awesome.
But anyway, I'm getting a new job somewhere soon anyway. I don't care.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago I want a job with as few meetings as possible.
It depends. Meetings mean less work.
Nah, because I don't have work anyway.
Nah.
All right.
So I had my own bit of annoyance. Driving into work today, I usually listen to NPR, mostly because I hate the radio and everything on it. And the CD player in my car doesn't work if it's cold outside.
Sounds like a job for an iPod and an iTrip.
I'm probably going to buy an iPod iTrip real soon.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Especially if I end up commuting on the train into the city every day.
Well, you don't need an iTrip if you're on the train. You just need some
here's the thing.
Eddie-matic 6i headphones.
It's not worth a couple $100 to get a good car stereo to replace my busted one.
Oh, hell no. Well,
however,
actually, sometimes Best Buy has it for like $100.
It's still not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it to fix that because it works half the time.
Oh, okay. So then you can only get one if it's $50.
Now, I would pay the cost of an iTrip to have a working car stereo.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I already have an iPod, buying an iTrip is a no-brainer.
Yeah, an iTrip's less than $50.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I discovered with my iTrip is the best thing? I always tune it to 87.9 to...
That's NPR around here.
Actually, no, it's nothing right in front of the house.
Yeah, but drive a little ways that way and it's something.
I don't know. It works all the way to work. It works just fine. I think it works so fine that all the people who have Sirius satellite radio are also using 87.9 to get it from their receiver to their car stereo.
Great.
So when I drive around, like every other day, I'll hear like 5 minutes of Howard Stern as someone with Sirius drives by me. It's like all these people who have Sirius satellite radio only listen to Howard Stern. They don't listen to anything else. Like, I swear to God.
Man, that means the iTrip's real weak.
It is pretty weak. It's supposed to be strong enough for just your car.
But so is Sirius.
Well, the thing is, I think the Siriuses are a little more powerful.
Well, the iTrip should be more powerful.
Yeah. There was a hack for one of the older iTrip minis that where you could make it more powerful. I'm waiting for the iTrip Nano hack to make it more powerful. We'll see.
But anyway, I'm listening to NPR on the way to work. And they're doing this bit about survivalist nonsense. You know, what are you going to do if there's a bird flu pandemic?
There was a bullshit about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the details of the stupidity I witnessed, but during this, someone called in, and I'll get into the details of this other stupidity I witnessed that's mostly unrelated to the previous stupidity. So this old lady calls in, and she starts talking about how scientists long ago discovered that olive leaves are an antiviral, and that they cure AIDS, and that the government hushed it up because, patent whatever.
So why did the screeners even let this lady through?
Because they don't really screen so much, and think of it this way. Say you're screening anyway, and someone calls your radio show and says, I want to ask a question about blah. They say, all right, and they put you in the queue. Then you get on the show, and you instead ask a question about blah, blah. There's nothing they can do.
Well, they push the button, and you stop talking. Or they say, oh, it's nice to hear from you. Click.
Yeah, but the thing is, she sounded sane at first, but they'd let her talk too long, and then she turned crazy real quick.
One of those.
Now, I don't mind the fact
stealth nutcase.
She was just a crazy randy lady who seemed to believe that olive leaves will cure Asian bird flu if you get it, and that you should stock up on olive leaves or olive leaf extract pills for the coming apocalypse.
We should put some Asian bird flu in her house and see what happens. And
Now,
then be like, hey, how those olive leaves doing?
Yeah. Now, here's what bothers me. I don't mind when someone like that has a crazy batshit belief. What bothers me, other than it maybe they hurt someone with that belief or they hurt themselves with that belief, but when they present this belief to a public figure in a public forum who knows better, because the lady who was moderating all this on NPR obviously knows better. She's an intelligent person. Instead of telling this lady exactly that she was wrong or this is complete bullshit, she basically just fluffed it off as, I'm not really familiar with the research, but yeah, it's a good thing to know. Thanks for your information.
Well, that's the difference between mainstream media and blog type stuff. If you're in the mainstream media, you have to be all polite and all this,
See, I think that's a big fallacy, not only on the part of greater human good, spreading truthful information instead of lies, but more importantly, from a money perspective, look how well all the shock jock crapo people do compared to mainstream media in terms of money.
Yeah, but it's NPR. You have to, if you start doing that kind of stuff in NPR, you'll be fired, or who knows what.
But here's the thing. If NPR started doing that sort of thing, how many new listeners would they get to the radio?
Yeah, but then how credible would it be to all the NPR people? They would think it's all, it's just one of those crap lowbrow things now. It can't be respected.
See, this is the problem I have, is I am by no means a right-winger. In fact, I am the exact opposite of that. In many ways. In almost all ways. However, I am not a traditional liberal, at least in terms of what people mean by the word liberal nowadays. I'm definitely not a leftist either.
Dirty hippies.
Now, it seems to me that a lot of the people who listen to NPR seem to be leftist in the leftist sense. Left on every issue, liberal on every issue. And because I've noticed that NPR carries a lot of, not ads, but, promotional consideration kind of deals, which are basically just ads.
I thought it was Acura does all the promotional considerations for NPR.
They get a lot of very stupid-sounding herbal remedy, organic, whatever bullshit lately.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Those people shouldn't be allowed to advertise.
Yeah, more importantly, NPR, regardless of whether or not they need the money, should really not be catering to this. The thing is, I think that their listeners want it, too.
Yeah, it's all about, if they're marketing it on NPR, they must be getting results in NPR.
Yep.
So, that's the thing that's so great, why I don't really listen to the radio or watch TV anymore, and I go all for the internet and podcasts and all that sort of thing, is because when you go there, someone's not afraid to say, you're batshit crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just an article today where this guy, said one Randy at the end. And I was like, actually, no, that Randy's false. And then I went somewhere else, and there was someone else in a comment saying, yep, that Randy's false. It's like, there's no comment section on an NPR radio show or on a TV show on TV, and it's all filtered and crap. On the internet, you're going to get, the truth might not, not everything on the internet is true. But the truth is there somewhere, and if you put in effort, you can dig it up. And if you're smart, you'll recognize it.
Plus, on the internet, people are very much willing to give you your bad medicine.
Yeah, if someone comes around and says, olive leaves will heal you, blah, 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 1,000 people will say, you're a fucking nutcase.
The problem is, and when we get to my thing of the day, a lot of people, even though they're told that there's a fucking nutcase, and there's evidence everywhere, they still believe it.
Yes, however, the fact that there will be a story that says olive leaves and then a million comments that say nutcase, that person might stay a nutcase, but at least people coming along seeing those comments won't also become nutcases.
Sometimes.
More often than if NPR says olive leaves are good.
I submit that if you read Farkmore, you'd have a much more cynical view of your fellow man.
Oh, it's cynical. But I also like Darwinism. So... Because, creationism sure isn't real.
All right. So, anyway, in the news,
right.
Sony, now, all of you know that Blu-ray, while it's supposedly better
Wait a
than
second.
DVD,
This is the same Sony that hasn't done anything successful since, the PS2?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Sony that stock is dropping like a rock, that doesn't have their next-gen game console out, that looks like they're going to be competing not with Microsoft, but with Nintendo. for their launch window.
Awesome.
And now all right, so Blu-ray was originally, and still does, have DRM in it. All sorts of DRM. Now, one aspect of this has a bit in it where if you use this token in your media, and the media is played out of any output that is either analog or not fully protected by HDMI, it will pretty much cut the resolution of your signal in half.
Mm-hmm.
In order to prevent HD copies of anything from getting out into the real world via the analog hole.
All right.
Now, I consider this to be a very terrible thing, and so do, all the people who have previous generation HD TVs who won't be able to watch HD Blu-rays because of this.
All the intelligent people.
Yeah. Now, Sony just recently backpedaled and said, we're not going to use that. We're not going to have it. And that's half true. Slashdot, once again, had a slightly misleading headline.
Oh, wow. That's a big surprise.
So basically, all Sony said is, media that we release will not, in the foreseeable future, use the capability that Blu-ray has to downsample your media.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're trying to trick everyone who hates DRM into adopting Blu-ray with an empty promise that, oh, don't worry, yeah, that DRM feature's in there, but it's not going to be used.
You know what? I get the feeling that my prediction and guess is that they're going to not use it. That way, people will buy Blu-ray and they'll have all this hot HD TV. And then after Blu-ray's been adopted, then they'll bow to the media companies. And, well, they are a media company. And
Thank
themselves.
you, Captain Obvious of the Redundancy Team Squad.
Yeah, there you go. All right. As someone who doesn't watch TV, I'm real happy if I can download TV shows on the internet, especially if it's some legitimate thing that doesn't cost money or is very reasonably priced. AOL has this thing called Into TV that everyone is kind of going nuts about. Because they got some good shows here available absolutely for free.
What shows do they have?
Well, the one that caught my eye was the one at the top of the list, Adventures of Briscoe County Jr.
Haha, that show was awesome.
Super awesome. All right. They got some nerds might like Babylon 5.
That was all right.
The Beetlejuice cartoon.
That was actually terrible. I wish it would die.
F-Troop.
I used to watch F-Troop, but I don't know if I liked it because I was a little kid at the time.
Freakazoid.
Freakazoid!
Yeah.
Freak of you, freak of me.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
All right, so they've got awesome old TV.
The Fugitive, I think, is the best one here.
Ooh.
And they got some other stuff like Pinky and the Brain, whatever. All right, so they got good stuff. The problem here is that the only way to watch it is if you have Windows XP.
What?
Windows Media Player 10.
What?
And yeah, it's all DRM'd and shot to hell. It's high quality. Like, they're really high quality videos and everything. But they're so DRM'd that, like, almost no one can actually watch them. And you can't, like, download them and put on your iPod or anything.
I wonder if I could run Windows Media Player 10 in Wine.
Maybe. It would be tough. You need, like, the ActiveX bullshit, and there's a bunch of DRM and crap.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to find a way to take that and encode it into, like, a DivX or whatever. God, it's just not worth it. There's so much DRM, it becomes difficult to watch. It's terrible. It's like they ruined it. They could have had it just perfect. Just, like a YouTube or a Google video where you go and click and it plays.
Well, you know what? I hate to sound like a shill for Netflix, but we can see all those shows on Netflix.
Are all those shows on DVD?
Almost all of them are.
Hotness. I'm totally going to rip them all.
Yeah.
All right. Second thing here.
Yeah, 3 newses today.
You may or may not know there's going to be, this is not some bullshit thing, 2 Star Wars television shows.
Now, I have mixed feelings about this. Either we're going to get awesome Star Wars action on a regular basis, or this is going to be the worst thing that has ever happened.
Well, than
Episode 1.
If you ask LucasArts, they'll say, there are a lot of people who want more Star Wars, and we're not going to make any more movies. So we're going to make a TV show.
What about episodes 7, 8, and 9?
They should have made those, like, in the 90s, if you ask me.
Yeah, I want to see some Vice Admiral Thrawn coming back.
Dude, who should be Vice Admiral Thrawn? I can't even think of a person who could be Vice Admiral Thrawn.
There's no one scary enough. Maybe Von Karma could have pulled it off.
Von Karma's not real.
Exactly.
All right, anyway. The articles I've read suggest that there's going to be 2 shows. One of them is a It says it's going to be a CG computer animated show set during the Clone Wars, but isn't there already the Clone Wars cartoon that was on Cartoon Network? Are they talking about the same thing or something new? I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be something new that's computer generated animation, or it could be they were talking about the show that already exists.
I don't think they're talking about the one that already exists because that one was very much not computer generated.
Yeah, or it might have been really computer helped animation. I don't know.
Could
It's
have
very
been.
good though.
Yeah.
So if you like Star Wars, you're actually the Clone Wars cartoon is better than episodes 1, 2, or 3. You should watch it. For absolutely sure, 100%, there's going to be a live action Star Wars TV show. And they've already got guaranteed there are going to be at least 100 hours of this show in existence.
Do they have the same actors for the parts?
We don't know anything about it.
If Ewan McGregor isn't in it, I'm not watching.
The only thing we know about it is it's going to be taking place between episodes 3 and 4. So that's the part of what everyone wants to know about. You know, what goes on between, Yoda goes to Dagobah and then, Luke gets a
Let
lightsaber.
him beat you, you had to.
Let him defeat you, you had to.
Okay.
Go crazy, I will.
So, things of the day.
Well, I just talked about Star Wars, and my thing of the day also involves Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. It's a little quiz online, and it's a pretty simple quiz. There's a long list of words on the left, and for each word, you have 2 choices. You can either say, that word is the name of a Star Wars character, or you can say, that word is the name of a Web 2.0 application.
Now, this is a lot harder than you would think.
All right, let's do a few. Flickr.
Web 2.0.
Django spelled Jango.
Obviously Star Wars.
DJANGO.
Now, I'm going to say Web 2.0, but I have no idea what the hell that is.
It's a Web 2.0 application. I don't know what it does. Squidoo.
That's a Web 2.0.
Thrawn.
We just talked about Thrawn.
Pando.
That's Star Wars.
Meebo.
I know it's Web 2.0 only because you mentioned it earlier.
Favor.
Let's go Star Wars. Whatever. I don't think we need to go through the whole survey.
Yeah, let me just say, Web 2.0 applications a lot of them have similar names to Star Wars characters.
Let me put it this way. I recognized a grand total of 1 thing on that entire list that I knew what it was if it wasn't Star Wars.
Wow. I got about 4 or 5 that weren't Star Wars.
I did really well on the actual quiz part just because I know Star Wars real well, so anything I didn't recognize as Star Wars, I said it was Web 2.0.
Yeah, I pretty much picked all the ones that I knew and the rest randomly. Because 1 out of 2 shot. I got a 29, which is, I think that says too much Kool-Aid.
I also got a 29.
Yeah, the ideal score is between 11 and 20 because then you get the result of revel in it. You've achieved a rare zen balance of pop culture knowledge and techno prowess, and apparently still have a life to boot. Yeah!
It's not like that Nerd Geek Dork survey where almost everyone who listens to Geeknights came up as a modern cool nerd.
I'm a pure geek.
Yeah.
What up?
So for most of you know that every now and then my thing of the day is something that just generally pissed me off as opposed to something awesome. And today is one of those days.
Great.
Now, this is on actually last week's JREF newsletter, so you might have already read it, but I think it bears repeating. Now, there's this woman, and her name is Dr. Kaz DeMille Jacobson, and she was going around speaking at churches. And, well, here, you know what I'm going to do?
Well, that's a warning sign right away.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go through a list of things that she claims as a speaker. These are things that she actually claimed to have done or known or been in the course of her life.
Okay.
And here's the thing. The people who listen to her and believe her, they believed all of the things that I'm about to say. And this is a non-trivial number of people.
All right.
All right. She is the illegitimate grandchild of film director Cecil DeMille.
Wait, what's her name?
Kaz DeMille Jacobson.
All right. Is that a real name, or did she change her name, or what?
No one knows.
Great.
All right.
So at least she's got something that.
All right.
Know.
She was married to famous pop star Fabian, and then later to Roberto Andretti.
Wait. Who's Fabian?
I don't know. Fabio? I don't know.
Fabio? I think if she was married to the Fabio, that's that really big, like, fancy romance novel guy,
But
right?
Roberto Andretti is of the famous car racing family.
Yeah, Mario and Michael were much better racers, and no one knows about Roberto. If she would have said Michael or Mario, people would have been like, "That's you're lying."
All right.
So she chooses that's like saying, "Yeah, I'm married to Waluigi."
All right. Her production companies have won several Oscars and Grammys.
Well, you could just look that shit up.
Yeah, well, someone did look that up, and I'll let you guess as to what the results were.
Okay.
She founded worldwide charitable organizations. Very easy to, just make up.
I just found it too.
She has a net worth of over $100 million.
Me too.
She has been on presidential advisory committees under 3 American presidents.
Isn't that written down somewhere also?
All right, here's where it goes batshit. Like crazy. She was in...
Wait, it's not crazy batshit already?
Now, keep in mind that up till this point, I could understand how some fairly ignorant people could believe this woman. But the rest of these, they also believed. She was in the elevator in the North Tower of the World Trade Center when the planes hit it on September 11th.
Yeah.
Although horribly wounded, she courageously led others to safety, running out of the tower just as it collapsed.
Yeah.
While hospitalized from her 9/11 wounds, she was clinically dead for 28 minutes.
Has anyone been clinically dead for 28 minutes ever?
While dead, she was taken to heaven, where she met Jesus and God.
What? Okay, wait a minute.
When she came back to life, she had a rock in her hand given to her by Jesus himself.
Where's the rock?
NASA tested the rock and said it was not of the earth nor of the moon, and then refused to give it back and deny all existence of it.
Why would NASA do that?
President Bush sent for her, and he and Mrs. Bush heard her wondrous story, and then they knelt down in front of her and asked her forgiveness for letting 9/11 happen.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this woman was going around speaking at churches, and the churches she was speaking at were very excited to have such a famous and important person coming to their church. And they believed every word she said. They considered her a wonderful promotional speaker.
Well, I mean, if you're at a church, that means you already believe that there's some crazy Jesus magic dude somewhere. So it's not hard to convince those people of just about anything else. I mean, once you believe in something completely made up, like I could get those people to believe in dragons and fairies and God knows what.
Well, what was that quote? Because it came up today when we were arguing online. I submit that you are just as much an atheist as me. I just believe in one fewer God than you. And when you realize why you don't believe in all those other gods, you'll realize why I don't believe in yours.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, I like that quote.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Yep.
Yeah, that there was a little inside joke.
I got a plan.
Oh?
Let's go around to churches claiming all kinds of crazy shit and then make mischief.
See, I note that...
For the entertainment of people like us everywhere.
How many times have we run across something like this where we realized how trivial it would be for the two of us to give up on our technology careers, do whatever scam we're talking about, and make millions?
Oh, we're not evil fuckers.
I mean, audiophile stuff? You wouldn't believe the magic wood, paper, whatever I could build and sell to people online.
Dude, I'm going to make wooden volume knobs. They decrease bad vibrations in your sound system.
Oh, no, they also add tonal clarity.
Oh, okay.
And bring out the rich basses.
And they're made with special wood from rare trees in, like, the tropics. And they're only $500 each. Buy one now.
Remember when we wanted to sell magic fairy powder on eBay?
Yeah, I remember that.
We were going to grind up some sidewalk chalk.
Yep. We should still do that.
See, we just have too many scruples. But the thing is, a lot of people out there don't have any scruples.
Or they are scruples.
That didn't make sense.
I know, because those people don't make sense.
That was the dumbest analogy ever.
You suck. I'm just trying to be silly. We're talking about grinding up sidewalk chalk and selling it as fairy dust, all right? I think we're...
All right. So anyway, it's Thursday, which means we can talk about whatever the hell we want. And it's Favorites Week, which means it has to be something that we like. Now, we debated for a while because there are basically an infinite number of topics we could have talked about.
Yep. I mean, it was really hard to pick one. Like, what, favorite movies? Favorite books?
Favorite anything? Favorite geekery I thought about?
Favorite women?
We ended up on sports. Now, I justify this in that, one, we actually like sports more than you would think, and I think that a lot of geeks out there actually enjoy certain sports more than you would expect of the stereotypical geek, nerd, whatever.
I think what it really is that people who are more nerdy or geeky, like some of them are just like anti-sport, which is fine. Some people are just like, we don't care about sports at all, which is fine. But it seems like there's a large population of people that like care about one or two sports and not any others. When, as opposed to the typical American, like look at my dad. My dad, no matter what time of the year it is, he's got one or two sports he's watching, no matter what. Because that, when he grew up, he was all sports action.
Yep. The other thing is that it seems like non-geeks tend to rally around sports as a safe topic to talk about at work. And a lot of people seem to care about it way too much.
Well, that's because geeks have other things they care about in their lives, like their comic books or their video games or their whatnot. Whereas normal folk who don't have any hobbies and aren't geeks, there's not much for them to go on except for TV shows and sports.
I mean, this is kind of sick and sad, but where I work, after the Red Sox won the World Series, a lot of people didn't come into work the next day because they were Yankees fans and they couldn't deal with it.
Well, okay.
Yeah, they took sick days because they couldn't deal with the fact that their team lost.
I think that they're just using that as an excuse to take a sick day.
No, these people, when something crazy happens in sports, they get loud and angry and passionate about it. They get more passionate about sports than they get about the war, Iraq, drugs, whatever.
And that's the reason that those sports exist.
Yeah, well, bread and circuses.
Yep.
So, one thing we've noticed over the years is that there seem to be a certain number of sports, at least mainstream sports first, then we'll get into the more esoteric sports that geeks seem to really love, that geeks tend to flock around more than maybe other people, and definitely more so these sports than other sports.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, surprisingly, seems to be hockey.
Yeah, it's like you got baseball, basketball, football, ice hockey. Ice hockey seems to be like, I don't know, maybe it could be the violence.
It could be the fact that a lot of tech schools originally were up in the north where hockey was big anyway.
It could be that hockey is only played above the Messier line where people are smarter.
Also, I just note that all the old engineering school, MIT, Caltech.
MIT doesn't have the greatest hockey.
No, they don't have the greatest hockey, but the people who go to MIT love their hockey.
Kinda.
RIT, real big into the hockey.
Yeah, that's where he went. So that's why we're big into hockey.
Yeah, well, I was big into the hockey pretty much my whole life, mostly because I was born in Hockey Town, Detroit.
Well, yeah, but I was also, I was born in Queens, New York, I
was born in a city that calls itself Hockey Town.
Yeah, my family is all Rangers fans, right? But we're also Mets fans and Giants fans and all sorts of, New York teams, right? But of all those things, back in like the 60s, it must have been the 70s maybe, my family actually had season tickets to go to Madison Square Garden and watch Rangers games for like a couple of years or so. And like no other sport did they ever buy season tickets or anything. So I guess it's also a family thing.
Well, plus just hockey-wise, a lot of geeks I've known, I mean, we're not like really into hockey. I mean, we love it and we'll watch it, but we don't, obsess over stats or actually care who wins outside of the game we're watching at the moment.
Yeah, like if I'm watching a game right now, I care who wins. Maybe I won't if the teams or whatever.
Yeah, but if we're at a game at RIT, watching RIT play, we want to win so we can ridicule the people sitting on the other side of the ice.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind if, the team that I'm going for wins the world championship or whatever.
We're not skipping work if our team loses.
No, and, but if they lose, whatever. I don't really care. It's just some guys somewhere that I don't even know.
I've run into a lot of geeks who like hockey, and I think definitely statistically beyond random chance.
Yeah, hockey is awesome.
Now, aside from hockey, at least us personally, I have no more geek correlations other than ice hockey. But we generally enjoy F1 racing.
F1 racing, if you don't know, it's not just a thing you see in video games. There actually is Formula 1 racing. And
the thing is, it's hard as hell to actually watch it.
It's only way you can see it in the United States is on Speed TV.
Or the Pirates Bay.
Well, I think the only time I've never seen it on the Pirates Bay before the race that just happened last weekend.
And if this is a trend, expect us to be talking about F1 races periodically.
Yeah, if you want to see an F1 race, you can either watch Speed TV this Sunday, I think. at like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Or because they'll rerun the race at like sane hours on Sunday also.
Or just search on the Pirates Bay for Formula One.
Well, no, you're going to want to search for Malaysia.
Well, you know what? Search for Bahrain, because that one's out there, we know.
Yeah, well, who knows if that torrent's still up. But yeah, search for Bahrain to see the first race of this season, or search for Malaysia sometime after Sunday this weekend, and you can see the second Grand Prix.
Yeah. Now, we're not going to talk about... I mean, we could do a whole episode on the sport, just like we could do a whole episode on
all you have
hockey.
to know about Formula One is the following. They are the fastest, most technologically advanced four-wheeled motor vehicles on the face of the earth that run on gasoline.
And can turn.
And they turn left, they turn right, they go up hills, and they go down hills. That's it. It's the best. NASCAR can suck its dick.
Yeah, Formula One racing, I mean, I've always enjoyed it as an idea, as like the ultimate in racing. But I never really liked it, mostly because I never really was able to watch it.
I was never able to. I used to watch. I remember there was like Indy racing, and then Indy split up into Indy and Kart, which is now Champ Car, and then open-wheeled racing, which is, race those low Indy-style race cars where you can see the wheels, they're sticking out of the sides, they're taller than the car. That's open-wheel racing. That kind of died in the U.S., and NASCAR took over with its stock car racing.
Though actually, I used to live up in the mountains in Pokeway while I was still working for IBM as a co-op. And the lady I lived with actually races open-wheel Ford at Lime Rock.
Yeah.
So she had all her race cars in the garage, and I got to look at them.
I remember in like my younger days, like I always, I would watch racing. We'd watch like the Indy 500 or the Daytona, whatever, until my dad eventually really got into NASCAR type of stuff. But, yeah. But I always liked the Indy stuff more because it was just a lot more interesting, and they were going a lot faster. But then it kind of died because of bullshit. And then I finally found F1 racing was real, like 3 years ago, just by chance, flipping through the channels at home. And now I'm all on it.
If we had more money, we'd totally get into go-kart racing, which is not a stupid sport. It's actually very difficult, enjoyable, and awesome.
F1 racing is really just go-kart racing with a freaking jet engine instead of a lawnmower engine. That's all F1 is, really.
Now, as for the rest of the traditional sports, I could really take them or leave them. I mean, American football, I enjoy occasionally. I usually enjoy the marching band halftime shows more.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy a good game of football, but I don't really, and I'll go to usually one a year because my dad gets tickets or whatever. I actually think I went to 2 last year. I went to a Giants game and a Patriots game. But I don't really care. I don't watch the Super Bowl. I haven't watched the Super Bowl in 6 years.
I actually really enjoy watching tennis.
No, I don't like tennis.
I think the only reason I enjoy it is that I used to play it. I don't play it much anymore. I just don't have time, but...
Yeah, I don't like tennis. Baseball, I don't mind going to baseball, but...
Yeah, I'm not that interested in baseball.
I'm not going to watch baseball on TV.
God.
But what I do really like to watch is if I had TV, I would watch ESPN SportsCenter during baseball season, and you see all the crazy baseball plays in 2 minutes. It's the best. Because that's all you really want, because, most of baseballs, they're standing around, pitch, throw it back, pitch, throw it back. If you can cut all that out, SportsCenter shows you, the amazing baseball moments of the day. It's terrific.
See, what I like about a baseball game is I don't mind going to one because it's half, there's a sport going on, and half just hanging out eating peanuts with all your friends.
Yeah, and baseball's really cheap compared to the other sports because there's so many games, and unless you're going to Fenway Park, it's not going to sell out. So, you can just have fun.
Basketball, I just have zero interest in.
Yeah, I think basketball, the real thing behind that is at some colleges, they get all excited about it. And then I could see me going to basketball for the, school spirit excitement.
Yeah, I guess if RIT had an awesome basketball team instead of an awesome hockey team.
Yeah, you go for the school spirit, but the sport itself, the problem I have with it is that they just score so often that it's completely unexciting, and the only potential excitement in a basketball game is if the score is close at the end.
As opposed to hockey, where if someone scores, you jump up and scream.
Yeah, because when do they score in hockey? You're lucky if you get 3 goals in a game. That's crazy.
Yep, they've actually been scoring quite a bit more lately. By quite a bit more, I mean maybe 4 or 5 goals a game, up to 7 now, but that's just because they changed some of the rules.
It's that's the other thing football has going for it. When someone gets a touchdown in football, woo! Woo! Oh my God! Woo! They scored! Holy gosh, yay! In baseball, they they score one run, you'd be like, yay! Sometimes, but basketball, it's like, yay, yay, yay,
Yeah.
yay.
Well, football, the only thing I
Clap.
really don't like about it is the culture around it. I mean, going to a football game, you're surrounded by drunk, loud idiots who care more about the game than you do.
Yep, that's true. That's true. But it's actually strange because the fact that the ticket prices are so high at these events actually has a side effect. See, I never go to any professional sporting event unless the tickets are free, which I happen to get quite often, actually, through precarious means.
Yeah. I used to go to games that we paid for back when I lived in Detroit when the Red Wings, but that was expensive as hell. And I
would
can't
never
afford that
pay
anymore.
for a professional sports ticket unless there was a damn good reason.
We paid to see the Stanley Cup Finals when the Red Wings won for the first time.
Yeah, I would pay
forever.
for that's if there's a damn good reason.
Yeah.
But, what happens is these high prices, they still sell out because, it's about supply and demand in capitalism. So the high prices are justified. They fill their arena with people. But at the same time, it keeps poor people out. Now, I don't know what discriminating against poor people, say whatever you want, but it makes...
I think there's a very simple, politically correct way to state this. Not all poor people are asshats, but most asshats are poor people.
Exactly. So when you go to sporting events nowadays, professional ones, especially if you have really good seats, the people might be drunk guys, but they're like drunk business guys and not like big, fat, smelly drunk guys. Like when they show you on TV, like the 5 scary fat guys with stuff painted on their chest, those guys are in the way upper deck all alone, and there's only one set of them.
Or they're at the NASCAR.
NASCAR has... That's here's something you want to get some perspective going. The average, stadium can hold, tens of thousands of people. At NASCAR, they have grandstands that hold hundreds of thousands of people. And they're just wooden benches that go way up.
And the tickets are actually real cheap.
No, they're really not.
Well, they're real cheap if you sit in the crapo area and you don't have to drive to the place.
Yeah, depending on where you sit. I mean, if you sit way in the shitter in a NASCAR track, you can maybe spend $20.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's because there's so many seats, there are a lot of cheap seats available to cheap people.
Yeah, but they usually sell out most of their
Oh,
action. Yeah. F1 is so international that it goes from country to country. Like if you go to see the middle of nowhere Grand Prix in the country no one cares about, then it's going to be pretty much empty. But if you go to see the the European Grand Prix or the Monaco Grand Prix, it's sold out, forget it. Actually, I think you can still get tickets to Monaco, but how are you going to get there?
Yeah, where are you going to stay?
Yeah,
there are 2 places in Monaco. There is the rich place, meaning orders of magnitude more money than you'll make in a year just to stay there for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Or the poor place.
There really is
and by poor,
there is no poor hotel.
No, by poor, I mean the shanty town on the other side of the mountain where all the servants live.
Yeah, you can't actually stay there. There's no hotel there.
Oh, yeah, you'd have to sleep in the street and be eaten by dogs.
Yeah, if you don't know about Monaco, I'm sure there's a Wikipedia page about it. You can learn all about the Principality of Monaco. It's basically a little tiny place that's full of casinos and hotels and fanciness. And they have a race in the street there every year.
Imagine if the riches of Dubai and the poverty of Rwanda were next to each other.
Well, it's not that poverty.
Nah, but it's down there.
It's like Mexico.
Nah, Mexico's got a lot of nice places.
Well, it's like Mexican workers' poverty.
Nah, it's a little worse than that, I think.
I don't know. I've never actually seen it because you can't get a picture of it.
I remember we read a Wikipedia. It's probably maybe one step above City of God.
Yeah.
We're just talking out our asses at this point.
Yeah. Pretty much all you have to know about if you want to actually go to an F1 race is, let's say I wanted to go to the Montreal Grand Prix. It's in Montreal, not too far away. It would cost me $1,000.
For $1,000, I could go to Japan.
Yeah, that includes getting there, staying in the hotel, and the way they price the tickets is you basically don't buy the race. You buy the race weekend because it's just stupid not to. And you have to go. You end up going to 2 practice sessions, the qualifying and the race. So you're there for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, going to all these different things, and it costs you $1,000 in total.
All right. So anyway, let's talk a bit about non-traditional, non-mainstream sports.
Well, maybe let's try to keep it to things that are actually sports.
Oh yeah, definitely sports. We're not going to talk about playing FPSs online or DDR, but still competitive events.
Well, sports are specifically games that involve physical activity or athletics in some way. That's how I put it.
Well, I just wanted to bring up, because I think one of our favorite sports, and both of us actually are big fans of this, Trobriand Island cricketing.
Trobriand Island cricket is freaking swear.
Now, to put it very, very briefly, the Trobriand Islands, it was the British who were there for a long time, and I think they eventually left, and the Islander natives watched them play cricket, and they liked the game a lot. They learned how to play cricket from those guys.
Actually, I think the cricket they play is kind of broken, but doesn't matter.
Yeah. So then those guys left, and they kept playing cricket. And they did, because of their culture and this whole aspect of community, the whole community should participate. Whole towns and villages in these islands, basically a team of cricket will consist of everyone in the village.
Yep.
And they'll go, and they'll put like 100 people on the field. And they do these crazy, crazy dances and rituals during the game, and it's just awesome. Look around, try to find videos of it. It's quite a sight to see.
And they actually use this like instead of war.
Yeah,
they used
literally.
they used to stab each other. Now they just play cricket, and it counts.
Yeah.
Imagine if we could go play cricket with like Iraq, and then when we won, we own them. That'd be awesome.
Of course, we saw how that ended with the Zulus.
Yeah.
The thing is, I don't think the Trobriand Islanders are going to stop playing their cricket anytime soon.
I don't think they are, no. Maybe there's a video going somewhere on the internet. I'm
Now,
sure there must be an article on the internet.
There's gotta be. Now, I know we've talked a bit about curling lately, and I just want to say, independent of the fact that there's obviously a marketing blitz going on now trying to get people to like cricket for some sinister reason.
Curling.
Cricket, yeah, curling. I've curled before, and it's fun. It's not fun to watch, in my opinion, but if you ever get a chance, it's fun to play. It's as fun to play as like shuffleboard or bocce.
It's pretty much shuffleboard on ice. Not chess on ice. Shuffleboard.
Yeah, chess on ice, my ass.
Yeah. And shuffleboard, actually, shuffleboard isn't the greatest thing ever, but if I'm hanging with my grandpa down in Florida, I'll play shuffleboard with the old man a couple times. Why not? Whatever. It's cool. So, it just occurred to me that there are a lot of sports we've neglected. Very, very important ones. Such as dodgeball. And speedball.
Wall ball.
Kickball.
Kickball is one of my favorite sports ever.
And
it requires almost no skill, almost no athletics. A bunch of guys get together, play about half a game, then give up and go home.
Wiffle ball.
I used to play mad wiffle ball when I was a kid.
Wiffle ball rocks. All the things that nerds actually like to play instead of just watch. I mean, we don't play F1 racing. I guess we could play hockey, but we don't really play ice hockey, But
yeah,
we can play all these things.
I used to play a lot of roller hockey.
Yeah, roller hockey you could play. But ice hockey, not so much.
Actually, yeah, because, I lived in the frigid wastelands of Michigan.
Yeah, but I don't see you doing it. You don't even have a hockey skates.
Well, part of it is that I don't have free time anymore. Two, there aren't just like ponds and lakes all over the place where you can just play hockey around here like there were where I grew up.
Whatever. The point is that I'm talking about the geeky sports that you can actually play.
Got to give a nod to marching band, drill corps stuff, which a lot of geeks in high school really get into.
I don't think that's really.
I consider it a sport. It's a sport in the same way that synchronized swimming or ice skating, anything like that, figure skating.
I don't know if those are really sports, because to me a sport is like it's like a game, but it involves physical activity. Those aren't really games.
Yes, they are.
They're more like shows.
They're also competitions. Direct competitions with definitive rules.
Yeah, but it's like it's like a subjective score from a judge. It's as if like two people put on movies, and then someone like scored the movies according to some system and decided who was the winner.
Well, here's the thing: there's a system, and the system itself is actually very objective in most ways. It comes down to it varies from sport to sport, but a lot of sports like this, you start with a perfect score or a near perfect score, and you lose points if you do specific things in specifically wrong ways.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a showcase.
So I would just go out and come back. I would just go out there and get right off.
Well, here's the thing. You also get points for actually pulling off difficult maneuvers.
But I thought you said you start with a perfect score.
It depends on the sport. I'm not going to get into the details of all these different sports.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the very least, you start with a perfect score, and there's a list of things that you must do.
Aha.
Things like that. It's actually much less subjective than a lot of people think. And Marching band, actual like drum corps competitions are the same way. I mean, it depends. If you didn't go to a high school that actually competed in, like national or at least state like marching band competitions, you probably didn't get any of this. But there is a fairly fierce competitive marching band circuit out there, and you can watch them on TV.
I don't have TV.
Nah.
And I've never seen it on TV ever.
Really? I can pull up a whole ton of them if you want to watch them.
No, not really.
In fact, they were my thing of the day a while ago.
Yeah. You know what? Cheerleading's on TV. I've seen that on TV. You know what?
You know what?
That's not a sport either.
While I consider it generally a stupid sport, it's basically the same as all those others in terms of how it's judged.
Yeah. I don't know. That just doesn't fit into Scott's definition of sport.
Well, it fits into Rim's.
It's got to be a game, and it's got to involve athletics.
It's a game, and it involves athletics.
It's not a game. It's a show. That's
all right. It's judged, though. It's competitive.
Yeah. It's just not a game.
How is it not a game? It's competitive. Someone wins.
It doesn't matter if someone wins.
Someone wins by an objective measurement.
No.
Yeah. Oh, look.
It's not...
He's got 98 points. Oh, he flubbed his double half turn. Now he's got 96 points.
Nah.
What do you mean, no?
It's not the same.
Oh, why not?
It's a whole different thing.
What do you mean it's a whole different thing? I submit that it's no different.
Wait, you're saying that you doing something and then some people judge you and give you a score is the same thing as you play a game based on rules and the game progresses and then whoever scores the most points wins?
I say they're fundamentally the same because the game progresses. Whoever scores the most points wins based on a mostly objective system.
All right, so now we're going to make a German board game where, we all just play. And then at the end, someone comes over and, looks at how he played and then gives us a score.
Well, that person has to have a predefined system that we all know and understand as to how he's going to determine the winner.
Then why even have the judges? If there's a predefined system, then...
Because the judges are just the people who enact that system, you idiot.
Yeah, but you don't need people to enact the system in like a game of baseball. It's just you score points. You say, we got 3, and you see the 3 points. There they are.
Yeah, you realize the judges are basically just like the referees in a game of hockey. They facilitate and they take care of the scoring.
So, theoretically, you could just have a competition without judges and you would know exactly how many points you got?
Actually, yeah, depending on the sport. Some of those sports are very subjective, and I don't really consider them in this. But the ones that have objective systems of scoring, yes.
I don't know.
Multiple judges would come up with the same score, unless they screwed up. That's why they have multiple judges, so you can, if 3 judges say one thing and one says the other thing, it all evens out in the end.
But how can that even happen if it's objective? If it's objective, how can it happen that,
all right, just because something's objective doesn't mean you might not miss something. One judge might not notice that he did something wrong in a specific way. One judge might sneeze.
See, but you can't mess up. A game of baseball is a game. You can't mess up. The guy steps on the plate. You get a run.
They often mess up. It's very vague often as to exactly when something's a strike or not. A lot of times a ref will make a bad call.
That's just determining in what the call is. Once you know what the call is, there it is. You have a scorecard. Anyone at the game can keep score.
Yeah, you know what? Anyone watching ice or figure skating can keep score too, if they know the system.
I don't know about that. Anyway. I don't consider those sports.
All right,
There's something else. They're like performances of some sort.
I disagree with you, and I consider them sports. Sports to me is a very broad category.
I think if you weren't a marching band fanboy, you would not consider it a sport.
I point out that I consider cheerleading, which I think is stupid, just as much of a sport.
Only to support your argument of marching band being a sport.
No.
You'll take everything in the same category and say it is just to hold it up.
See, actually, no. I just consider sport to be a very broad category, and then within that, there are subcategories.
Nah.
I mean, marching band and figure skating and cheerleading and all that are definitely not in the same category as, ice hockey, but they're still sports.
Nah. They're athletic performances. They're not even athletic. It's just a performance.
Actually, they're very athletic. Figure skating is extremely, extremely brutal on the body and very difficult.
Not any more than dancing.
Dancing is also extremely difficult and brutal on the body and athletic.
No, only if you're doing crazy ass dancing that requires jumping around or break dancing or something.
Wow. Anyway, whatever. I disagree with you. You're entitled to your opinion, but we've rambled about this too long, so I think that's the end of the show for tonight.
All right, good. I have to go freaking 8:30 in the morning.
And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geek Nights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.